Do you use a lot of tickets out the door in your classroom? Does your desk look like this with everything that you need to keep in one place in order to be a productive teacher? Well, Whiteboard FI gives you the ability to collect formative data, but keep it in one place and digital. All right, so today we are going to be learning how to use Whiteboard FI, which is actually owned by Kahoot, which is another awesome web tool that you can use within your classroom. But today we're going to talk about Whiteboard FI. Now, before you get started, in order to make an account, you would go to register right there, your first name, your last name, email, and then we're not robots. And you would register as a teacher, and then you would be able to check your email, and then you're going to verify your email address and then go back to the screen. Now, it does say by registering, you can try the Prime version for free for 14 days. And we're going to get into that because there are 3 steps to Whiteboard FI. 2 cost a price, and then 1 is free. So I am going to log in as a teacher, and you come to your teacher dashboard. Now you notice I have 2 different rooms that I've already started. And then you have your library, and then you have your license. But we're going to go back to the main page first, and let's look at the features. Now, Whiteboard FI is so awesome, and it says, but why is it so awesome? So you can create a class, let your students join using a link, room code, or QR code. Each student gets a whiteboard like you see here, and this one's on a phone. And there are so many different options that you can use to use Whiteboard FI in the classroom. The big one that is really helpful is that it's an instant formative assessment tool. So here are some things that you get with Whiteboard FI. You get instant access. There's versatile tools. There's so many. There's even a music staff for music teachers. You can co-teach. It works on any device, and there's no installation downloads needed, which sometimes can cause some confusion or issues with parents and students. You can use math. They have different ways to use equations or different symbols, and then there's also kind of like graph paper or like a table. You can put PDFs and even pictures in it. You can save your whiteboards. You can give students quick feedback, like you can do comments, thumbs up, thumbs down, or just like it. You can join your student in order to work together. There's everybody's student's favorite, emojis. You can save the whiteboards, you can push out the whiteboards. There is privacy, which is always nice in this technological world. There's access control, which is the waiting lobby, much like Zoom, which is another one. And then everything you can see live, which is awesome, or you can have your students do it at a different time. On here is also a video that you can watch that compares Whiteboard FI versus traditional teaching. If you're a teacher, I'm sure you've used the typical whiteboard, and you gotta get the markers and the erasers and all the things out in order to do what you're doing. So here is the pricing. There's 3 different plans. You have free, which is always nice, basic, and premium. And like you would guess, premium, you get everything. Now, with the free version, you just get the temporary rooms without registration. You can't co-teach, you can't upload PDFs, there's no ads, or I guess there would be ads, excuse me. You don't have permanent rooms, no library, you can't do feedback, and you can't work with your students. So it sounds great in theory, but you're basic, you get your teacher account, you can have co-teachers, you can upload PDFs, and there's no ads. But again, there's no permanent rooms, and you can't give feedback. So really, premium is going to be your best bet if this is something that you want to utilize in your classroom on a frequent basis. because you get everything. And I'm going to show you how to use the premium version because I'm still within my free trial from whenever I signed up. So now I'm going to go to my teacher dashboard and I'm going to show you how to create a new room. So you would just click right here, create a new room. Now you can create a permanent room or a temporary room. Permanent rooms can be used over and over again with the same URL, and you can even customize the URL yourself. It says that they can be easily shared with your students across the whole semester. So if this is something that you want to continue to work on throughout the whole semester, or for any length of time, you have that ability. Or you can have a temporary room, which expire automatically after 2 hours of inactivity, and you will get a new temporary room code each time. So we're going to create a permanent room. So you get to name your room. So we're just going to name this one Math. And we can pick our room URL, Math, and then we use my last name. What? Okay, and it's saving. So we've created our room. So this one right here says Math, and you can see right here that my customized URL is there. I have 0 students in it, and the room is currently closed. So I'm going to click on the title, Math, this room, and now it says your students can now access this class by visiting this whiteboard. You can copy to a clipboard or show the QR code, which shows up like this. This would be great. You can project it in your classroom. Students, if they have tablets of sorts, can scan the QR code and go straight into it. You can use the URL as well. If you're like still teaching digitally, you can send that out, whether you're in a Zoom meeting or a Google Meets meeting with your students. You can embed it in like your Google Classroom or your Blackboard classroom or your digital classroom that maybe your district provides. But first, we're going to toggle my whiteboard. That is an older one that I did. So we're going to clear both our foreground and our background. So remember, this is the premium version. That's what this would look like. So I am going to show you some of the tools. So you have a little pointing arrow. You can draw, you can make lines, you can make shapes, text, you can add a picture, you can add a PDF, you can cut, copy, paste. If you mess up, do that little undo button. You can zoom in, reset the zoom, pan around tools, zoom out. You can download your whiteboard, which is nice. You can change the colors of the text or the line, background. This is your eraser tool, which has many different options. You can just use the eraser tool, clear the foreground, but keep background, clear the background, but keep the foreground, or clear both. And then you have the kind of like graphing tools, which that is technically a background. And then this is a really cool music staff. And then all of your emojis. And we know how much kids love emojis. And then you can insert math, as it says, insert different math equations. So we're going to clear both our background and our foreground just to make sure everything is done. And then I'm going to show you how to just create a whiteboard, how to push it out to your students, and then what that looks like once students have responded. Like I said, you can watch this live. Like you will see your students as they are working if you're doing it live, or if it's something you want to do like as a station or homework or anything of that option, you can come back to it if it is a permanent room. Now remember, temporary rooms disable after 2 hours. So we're just going to use our text tool here, and I'm going to create a word problem for students to answer. So we're going to say Thomas has 12 apples that he wants to share with his neighbors. Each bag holds 4 apples. How many bags is he going to need to take the apples to his neighbors? Okay. Now you can maneuver this whole box. Personally, I like to put it at the top. That way students will have the whole space at the bottom. You can change the font. They only give you 3 options. You have Arial, your typical Times New Roman, and this Courier New. You can change the size. It's a little too big. Now it's a little too small. All right, that's about perfect. You can fill the text a different color, outline, background, those types of things. All right, so we're gonna do that. So Thomas has 12 apples. He wants to share with his neighbors. Each bag holds 4 apples. How many bags is he going to need to take the apples to his neighbors? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna push this out to students. So you have the option to push all pages if you have more than one whiteboard, which you would add them down here. You can push just this current whiteboard, or you can push the students as a background, and that's just the current whiteboard. So it says pushing your current whiteboard to the students erases their work and replaces their whiteboard with yours. If you push it as a background, your students will be able to draw on your image. Normal pushes copies your whiteboard, making it possible to move it around. So we are going to push to students current page only. So it's pushing and it says, please wait. Now let's see what this looks like from a student's perspective. All right, so your students will get to this page. They put in the URL code or they copy the QR code and they get to this page and it says, put in your name. So we'll just pretend that we are Lisa, and then they join whiteboard class. I have this button here that says toggle teacher whiteboard. So I can see what my teacher has sent to me. That Thomas has 12 apples. He wants to share with his neighbors. Each bag holds 4 apples. How many bags is he going to need to take the apples to his neighbors? So down here is the students' whiteboard. This is the area where the students can draw, they can type. They really have the ability to use any of the strategies that they have learned in this moment because it is a math problem. So let's say we want to do groups because I know that it's going to be 12 divided by 4. So I'm going to divide my 12 apples by 4 because 4 apples fit in each bag. So I'm going to draw my bags. I'm going to select a tool. You can do square, or it says rectangles or circles. Okay, I'm going to copy that and then I'm going to paste it. I'm going to move it over here. So, but now I need to put my apples in there. So I'm going to select my drawing tool here and I'm going to make my line width bigger. That way I can just make dots. So 4 apples, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Still need another bag. There we go. 9, 10, 11, 12. So I put my 12 apples in 3 bags. So then I'll make my width equals 3. All right, so now Lisa has finished her work. Now, as a teacher, I'm back on the teacher dashboard in the room. Scroll down, it says student whiteboard. So I see that the student is Lisa. I see what she has done. So I'm going to click on it to make it bigger. And I see her work. And this is where you get those feedback options for your students. So you can write a comment, you can view feedback history. Maybe you've given the student multiple different feedbacks on this particular problem. You can enter student live session. You can just give them a like, a thumbs up, or a thumbs down. So say we want to write a comment, we'll write a comment here, say great job, and then it sends it directly to the student, and the student has the ability to see their work. We can give it a thumbs up. So it gives the ability to see students work instantly as they complete it. If you have a whole bunch of students' work, you can even search the student right there. Maybe you're looking for a specific student. Now, you do have the ability to download the whiteboard as a picture, or you can save it as a PDF. You can put it in your library. So because this is a permanent room, it is going to stay on my teacher dashboard. And the great thing here is that I have easy formative data for this student. So I would just go back to my teacher dashboard and they're all right here. All right, now I want to show you how to maybe insert a picture or a PDF for students to be able to use as well. So I'm going to click here and I have a PDF on sharks. Click the little A right here, and here I have a reading on sharks. Now I can zoom in if students need to be able to see it clearly, and students have the ability to read, and they can even annotate this text. So let's change the color. Let's make it yellow like a normal highlighter. Say they need to understand, where does the great white shark get its name? Well, it gets its name from its white belly, so I would underline that. Now, one thing to be mindful of is that if you go to erase a line on a PDF with this eraser tool, it is also going to erase the PDF as well. So just for show, see, it takes away like the date option right there. So that is something to keep in mind if you are using a PDF. Again, that is a Whiteboard Fi thing, not something you can really come around from. But students can annotate a text, or maybe you have a math worksheet that students need to be able to use, or a quick like ticket out the door for students to use in order to get some formative. With Whiteboard Fi, you can use it in all subject areas: reading, math, science, history. Have students share their ideas for all of those subject matters, maybe an anchor phenomenon for science, or a political cartoon for history, or sharing the theme of a story in reading. The ability of Whiteboard Fi and the different things you can do are endless in your classroom.